11 things an intelligent person never says. Stoicism. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. Abraham Lincoln. Have you ever stopped to think about how your words shape your life and the people around you? What we choose to say or not say reveals more about our character than we often realize. For an intelligent person, words are tools, chosen with care and purpose, while silence can be a powerful shield against unnecessary conflict. Guided by Stoic philosophy, we understand that mastery of speech is part of mastering oneself. Every word carries weight, and once spoken, it cannot be taken back. Choosing wisely isn't just about avoiding harm, it's about building a life of meaning and peace. In this video from Stoic in Your Life, we'll uncover 11 things an intelligent person never says, reflecting how wisdom and restraint can transform your relationships, mindset, and inner tranquility. Let's explore the profound power of words and silence together. Number 1. Gossip and spreading rumors. Have you ever paused to reflect on how your words shape not just your world, but the world of those around you? Words, though intangible, wield immense power. They can build bridges or burn them, heal wounds or create new ones. Yet too often people fall into the trap of gossiping and spreading rumors, unaware of the damage they leave in their wake. From a Stoic perspective, engaging in gossip is not only a misuse of speech, but also a sign of weakness, a failure to master oneself and one's emotions. An intelligent person understands this and opts for silence over idle chatter, for they know that gossip diminishes both the speaker and the one being spoken about. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This timeless advice underscores the importance of thoughtful restraint. To listen attentively and speak sparingly is not just a sign of wisdom but also of respect, both for others and for oneself. Gossip, by contrast, often comes from a place of insecurity or an unexamined need to feel important at someone else's expense. Have you ever witnessed how a careless word or a baseless rumor can spiral out of control, leaving broken relationships and deep scars in its path? What starts as harmless often ends in regret. For once words are spoken, they cannot be unspoken. In modern life, a coworker shares a small, juicy tidbit about someone in the office. It feels harmless. After all, it's just a casual chat, right? But by the end of the day, that tidbit has taken on a life of its own, distorted by each person who retells it, until it reaches the ears of the person in question. Imagine their hurt, their trust shattered, and the unnecessary tension created, all because of words that served no purpose. In such moments, the teachings of Marcus Aurelius ring true. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Instead of joining the fray, a wise person chooses to rise above it, valuing dignity and inner peace over fleeting amusement or acceptance. The Stoics remind us that our words are a reflection of our character. To gossip is to expose not the faults of others, but the weaknesses within ourselves. A person of true intelligence and emotional strength doesn't need to belittle others to feel significant. Instead, they focus on listening, understanding, and speaking only when their words can add value. In a world dominated by social media, where gossip and rumors can spread faster than ever, the ability to choose silence becomes a superpower. When we resist the urge to participate in or amplify negativity, we take a stand, not just for others, but for our own integrity. It's not about suppressing your voice, but about using it intentionally, knowing that silence can often be more impactful than speech. Let your words serve as a force for good. Build others up instead of tearing them down. Cultivate the discipline to listen more than you speak, for it is in listening that we learn and grow. And above all, remember that the power of silence is not in what it withholds, but in what it creates: peace, respect, and deeper connections with those around you. Number 2. Precipitated words. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that you wished you could take back? Perhaps it was during an argument with a loved one, or maybe in a tense situation at work. Those moments, where our emotions take over and we speak without thinking, often lead to regret. Words once spoken can never truly be erased. They linger in the minds of those who hear them and often in our own minds as well. This is why Stoic philosophy places such immense value on choosing our words carefully and cultivating the self-discipline to pause before we speak. Epictetus wisely taught, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." What does this mean in the context of communication? It reminds us that the way we interpret our emotions and the judgments we make in those charged moments often dictates the words we speak. When we react impulsively, driven by anger or frustration, our words reflect a lack of control, a failure to align with our better selves. Stoicism encourages us to resist this impulse. Instead of reacting in haste, a wise person pauses, considers the impact of their words, and responds with thoughtfulness and care. Think about a time when you were caught in a heated discussion, maybe with a family member, a friend, or a colleague. In the moment, it feels almost satisfying to lash out, to make your feelings known, even if it means exaggerating or saying something cruel. But afterward, does that satisfaction last? Or are you left with regret, wishing you could undo the harm caused by a single careless sentence? Marcus Aurelius offers a guiding principle for these situations. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. This is a profound reminder that true power lies not in dominating a conversation or winning an argument, but in maintaining composure and choosing your words wisely. A person who acts out of anger or frustration might win the battle of the moment, but they often lose the greater war of trust, respect, and connection. In contrast, those who pause to reflect before speaking demonstrate not only wisdom but also emotional intelligence. They build relationships rather than tearing them down, and their words become tools of clarity and connection rather than weapons of destruction. This principle applies not just in personal relationships, but also in professional settings. When you're in a meeting and someone makes a comment that feels like a personal attack, your initial reaction is to defend yourself, maybe even to retaliate with a cutting remark. But what if, instead, you paused? What if you took a deep breath, considered the situation, and chose your response carefully? That moment of restraint can transform the dynamic of the conversation. It shows strength, not weakness. It demonstrates that you are in control of yourself, that you are not easily provoked. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes so practical. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this worth saying? Will these words build something meaningful, or will they destroy trust and create conflict? These simple questions can guide you toward responses that are thoughtful and constructive, rather than impulsive and harmful. And in asking them, you cultivate not only better communication skills, but also greater inner peace. When arguments arise, as they inevitably do, consider the impact of your words. Will they bring you closer to the person you're speaking with, or will they drive a wedge between you? Stoicism teaches us that silence can sometimes be more powerful than speech. To hold back from saying something hurtful is not an act of weakness, but an act of profound strength. This discipline is not easy. It requires patience, self-awareness, and practice. But the rewards are worth it. You gain not only the respect of others, but also a deeper sense of respect for yourself. You learn to communicate in ways that reflect your values and your commitment to living a life of wisdom and purpose. And you discover that the ability to control your words is one of the most powerful tools you have for shaping the kind of life you want to live. Number 3. Intimate financial details. In the realm of Stoic philosophy, wisdom lies not just in controlling our emotions, but also in exercising restraint over the personal information we choose to share. Among the many lessons Stoicism offers, one that resonates deeply in modern life is the importance of keeping financial matters private. Money, after all, is an external, a concept the Stoics used to describe things outside our control and irrelevant to our true worth. As Seneca wisely observed, it is not the man who has little, but he who desires more, that is poor. This timeless reminder underscores a fundamental truth. Wealth should never define who we are or become the measure of our value. Often in social settings, conversations drift toward financial achievements, new investments, promotions, or even lavish purchases. At first, such revelations might spark admiration or curiosity, but as the conversation lingers, something more insidious can emerge: envy, insecurity, and unnecessary comparisons. Picture a company dinner where one person enthusiastically discusses their recent purchase of a luxury car, while another quietly grapples with mounting debt. This unbalanced dynamic sows discomfort, creating a divide rather than fostering connection. In such moments, Stoicism teaches us to reflect. Are we sharing to inspire or to inflate our ego? Are our words building trust and respect or subtly fostering resentment and competition? A Stoic approach to financial matters involves a deep understanding of what truly brings contentment. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic thinker, reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. When we let go of the need to boast about financial success, we discover that fulfillment doesn't come from admiration or validation. Instead, it comes from a serene mind, unburdened by the need to compare or compete. By keeping our financial achievements private, we not only preserve our dignity, but also create space for deeper, more meaningful interactions based on character and shared values. Think about the risks of oversharing intimate financial details in today's world. Beyond breeding envy, such disclosures can make us vulnerable. Whether it's a casual acquaintance or even someone we trust, revealing too much about our finances can invite exploitation, judgment, or unwanted attention. In this sense, self-control becomes a shield, protecting not only our material possessions but also our emotional well-being. A wise person understands that safeguarding their peace is more valuable than seeking fleeting admiration through numbers or possessions. Let's apply this lesson to modern life. In the age of social media, it's tempting to post about the luxurious vacation, the shiny new purchase, or the latest financial milestone. But Stoicism challenges us to ask, why are we sharing this? Does it serve a higher purpose, or is it an attempt to seek approval? True self-mastery lies in resisting the urge to flaunt and instead finding contentment in silent accomplishment. As Epictetus cautioned, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This principle invites us to shift our focus from external validation to internal peace, from material accumulation to spiritual growth. Moreover, when we refrain from using financial success as a yardstick for self-worth, we strengthen our relationships. By avoiding conversations that highlight inequalities, we foster a sense of mutual respect and camaraderie. Now ask yourself, is the temporary satisfaction of sharing financial details worth the potential discord it may create? Isn't the tranquility of knowing you are secure, respected, and grounded far more rewarding than the fleeting admiration of others? By choosing silence over unnecessary disclosure, you uphold not only your own dignity, but also the harmony of your relationships. In a world obsessed with material success, adopting Stoic lessons on financial privacy is an act of quiet rebellion, a way to reclaim your peace and prioritize what truly matters. Instead of seeking recognition for what you have, strive to be known for who you are. Let your character, not your bank account, be the story you share with the world. For in the end, as the Stoics teach, the value of a life well lived lies not in the abundance of possessions, but in the richness of the soul. Number 4. Provocations. What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us. Epictetus. Have you ever found yourself in a heated moment, Tempted to lash out or respond impulsively to someone's provocation? It's a familiar scenario, one that often leaves us regretting the words or actions that follow. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we cannot control what others say or do, our response is entirely within our power. When we react impulsively or attempt to provoke others, we not only diminish our own dignity, but also stray from the core Stoic principle of self-control. A person guided by Stoicism does not waste energy on pointless arguments or emotional provocations. Instead, they focus on maintaining their inner peace, understanding that their power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering themselves. A colleague at work makes a sarcastic remark meant to undermine you, or a stranger online posts something inflammatory in the hopes of getting a reaction. In such moments, it's easy to feel a surge of anger or indignation, pushing us to respond in kind. What does giving in accomplish? Stoicism teaches us that provocation often stems from insecurity or a need for validation, and responding only fuels the fire. By choosing not to engage, you deny the provoker the satisfaction of controlling your emotions. This principle echoes in the words of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A powerful real-world example of this principle in action is Mahatma Gandhi. During India's struggle for independence, Gandhi faced relentless oppression and provocation from British colonial authorities. He had every reason to respond with anger, to fight fire with fire. Yet he chose the path of nonviolence, embodying the Stoic ideal of calm reason in the face of conflict. Gandhi famously said, "Weakness leads to violence. Strength of mind leads to peace." His refusal to retaliate with anger or aggression wasn't a sign of weakness, but of immense inner strength. It was his ability to remain composed and steadfast, even under immense pressure, that earned him global respect and brought about monumental change. If Gandhi had allowed himself to be provoked, responding with violence or harsh words instead of measured action, would the world remember him as a symbol of peace and resilience? Would he have achieved the same lasting impact? His story illustrates a profound Stoic truth. True strength lies in restraint, in choosing reason over impulse, and in maintaining calm even when others attempt to disturb your peace. Now think about how this applies to your own life. Maybe you've faced provocations in your relationships at work, or even from strangers. In such moments, the temptation to react quickly and forcefully can be overwhelming. But consider what is truly gained by engaging. Does it bring resolution or does it amplify the conflict? Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, am I reacting in a way that aligns with my values, or am I allowing someone else to dictate my behavior? By stepping back and choosing a measured response, or no response at all, you demonstrate true strength and wisdom. In practical terms, this might mean walking away from a heated argument, refraining from replying to a provocative email, or simply choosing silence over unnecessary confrontation. These are not signs of weakness, but of maturity and self-mastery. As Seneca aptly said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. This perspective invites us to prioritize our peace over momentary satisfaction, to let go of the need to win every argument or prove ourselves in every conflict. The modern world, with its fast-paced communication and social media platforms, often magnifies provocations. A single tweet or comment can spark a storm of reactions. But as followers of Stoic lessons, we have the opportunity to rise above the noise. Instead of reacting to every slight or criticism, we can focus on what truly matters: our character, our goals, and our inner tranquility. Each time we resist provocation, we strengthen our ability to remain calm under pressure, which not only benefits us but also sets an example for those around us. Ultimately, don't let others dictate your emotions or actions. As Epictetus taught, when someone tries to provoke you, remember that they are provoking what they think you are, not who you truly are. Your response, or lack thereof, is a reflection of your strength, not theirs. Through this practice, you'll find that provocations lose their power over you, and you'll emerge stronger, more centered, and more in control of your life. And isn't that the kind of strength worth striving for? If you've made it this far, you're truly a seeker of wisdom. Drop a comment saying, "I choose my words wisely," to show your commitment to embracing the principles of Stoicism. Stay tuned. This journey of growth and insight is only just beginning. Number 5. Privacy on social networks. In this digital age where social media feels like an extension of ourselves, the teachings of Stoicism are more relevant than ever. The Stoic emphasis on self-control, moderation, and guarding one's inner peace serves as a reminder of the risks and consequences of oversharing in a world that constantly demands transparency. Social media is a double-edged sword. It connects us with others, but also exposes us in ways we may not fully understand. Every post, every photo, every detail about your life that you share leaves behind a digital footprint, one that's open to judgment, misinterpretation, or even exploitation. What drives you to share so much? Is it a genuine desire to connect with others, or could it be a subconscious need for validation? Stoic philosophy teaches us to look inward for peace and fulfillment, rather than seeking it in external things like likes, comments, or shares. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom rings true in the context of social media. You cannot control how others perceive or respond to your posts, but you can control what you choose to share and why. A Stoic understands that seeking approval online often leads to a hollow cycle of validation and disappointment, ultimately disrupting the tranquility that comes from within. In the stories we see so often today, celebrities, influencers, and even ordinary people become targets of public criticism or worse because they've shared too much of their private lives. A moment of vulnerability captured in a post can quickly spiral into something you never intended, fueled by the judgments and opinions of countless strangers. Stoicism would advise against this. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This means prioritizing your inner peace over the opinions of others, even if it means stepping back from the spotlight or keeping your life more private. Let's bring this into a more relatable perspective. Imagine someone posts about their extravagant vacation, showcasing luxury hotels and fine dining. For some, it sparks admiration, but for others, it may breed envy or feelings of inadequacy. This simple act of sharing, though harmless in intent, creates ripples, some positive, others harmful. Now think about how this applies to your own life. Are your posts genuinely meaningful to you, or do they cater to an audience that you're hoping will approve or applaud? Are you sharing out of joy, or are you feeding a habit of seeking recognition? These are questions the Stoics would urge you to ask yourself. Privacy on social networks is not just about keeping secrets. It's about maintaining control over your life. The less you share, the less you're burdened by others' perceptions or the potential misuse of your information. In protecting your privacy, you're also safeguarding your peace of mind. Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." In the context of social media, craving attention or validation from others is a form of poverty, a hunger that cannot be satisfied no matter how many likes you accumulate. Think about the stress and anxiety that often accompany online oversharing. Every post invites judgment, both good and bad, and each reaction can influence your mood and sense of self-worth. A Stoic would remind you that true contentment is found not in the number of followers you have, but in the depth of your self-awareness and self-acceptance. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of public scrutiny and allow yourself to focus on what truly matters, your inner peace, your relationships, and your personal growth. As you scroll through your social media feed or consider what to post next, ask yourself, Am I sharing this because it aligns with my values and brings me joy? Or am I seeking something external to fill an internal void? The answer to this question can guide you toward a healthier, more intentional relationship with social media. Instead of using it as a platform for validation, you can use it as a tool for meaningful connection and self-expression, all while maintaining the boundaries that protect your well-being. We've all seen how social media can amplify conflict, misunderstandings, and anxiety. The stories of those who faced backlash or exploitation serve as cautionary tales, highlighting the importance of being mindful about what we share. Protecting your privacy online isn't just a practical step. It's a philosophical one, rooted in the Stoic principle of valuing your inner tranquility above all else. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By controlling your digital footprint, you're also controlling the energy you allow into your mind and life. Remember that your worth isn't determined by the number of likes or comments you receive, but by the strength of your character and the peace of your soul. By embracing the Stoic lesson of moderation and self-control, you can navigate social media with intention and clarity, ensuring it serves your life rather than detracts from it. And now, as we move forward in this journey of Stoic wisdom, take a moment to reflect on the power of protecting your personal space, online and offline. Number 6. Lying. Have you ever considered whether lying truly serves you in the long run? Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes integrity and self-mastery, teaches us that truth is the cornerstone of meaningful relationships and inner tranquility. To lie is to betray not only others but also yourself, as dishonesty erodes your sense of self-respect and authenticity. Lies often begin small, appearing harmless, but like a snowball rolling downhill, they quickly grow, spiraling into chaos and regret. A Stoic, grounded in the pursuit of wisdom and virtue, understands that while the truth can sometimes be difficult, it is always liberating. Honesty frees us from the weight of deceit, the fear of being exposed, and the exhausting effort of maintaining a false narrative. An employee deliberately misrepresents their work performance to avoid consequences. Initially, this might seem like a clever way to sidestep accountability, but lies have a way of unraveling. When the truth eventually surfaces, as it often does, the damage to their reputation and career is far more severe than facing the original issue with honesty. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple yet profound guidance highlights the importance of aligning our actions and words with what is right, not just convenient. A life built on lies, no matter how small they seem, is unstable, prone to collapse under the weight of deceit. In modern life, the temptation to lie often stems from fear of judgment, rejection, or loss. A small untruth about our accomplishments, finances, or intentions might feel like a shield against discomfort, but it ultimately becomes a trap. Lies create a cycle of anxiety, forcing us to layer falsehood upon falsehood to maintain the facade. Stoicism offers a better path. Instead of seeking temporary escape through dishonesty, Stoic lessons encourage us to face challenges with courage and authenticity. Epictetus said, "Whoever is free from deceit is pure." This purity, born of honesty, allows us to live without the burden of pretense, fostering relationships rooted in trust and mutual respect. Consider how lying impacts not only the liar but also those around them. A lie once discovered shatters trust, and trust is the foundation of all meaningful connections. Whether in friendships, professional relationships, or family bonds, honesty is what allows relationships to flourish. Imagine the damage caused by a business leader who lies about their company's financial stability. Employees, investors, and customers, all reliant on that trust, are left betrayed, and the fallout affects countless lives. In contrast, a leader who values transparency, even in difficult times, earns respect and loyalty. The Stoic commitment to truth reminds us that integrity is far more valuable than any temporary advantage gained through deception. On a personal level, lying can also erode your inner peace. The cognitive dissonance of living a lie weighs heavily on the soul, pulling us further from the tranquil state that Stoicism seeks to cultivate. Seneca wrote, "A good character is the only guarantee of everlasting, carefree happiness." A good character cannot coexist with deceit, for dishonesty undermines the harmony between our thoughts, words, and actions. To live truthfully is to live freely, unburdened by the fear of being exposed or the guilt of misleading others. So why do people lie if the consequences are so dire? Often it's because the truth feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. Yet, as the Stoics teach, discomfort is not something to be avoided, but embraced as a pathway to growth. Facing the truth requires courage, but it also builds resilience and self-respect. When you choose honesty, even in difficult situations, you strengthen your character and earn the trust of those around you. In a world that often rewards appearance over substance, staying truthful can feel like swimming against the tide. Social media, for instance, encourages curated versions of our lives, blurring the line between presentation and deceit. But as followers of Stoicism, we are called to live authentically, resisting the allure of falsehoods in favor of a life grounded in reality. By choosing honesty, we honor not only those we interact with but also ourselves, ensuring that our actions and words align with our deepest values. The next time you're tempted to lie, whether to avoid conflict, gain approval, or protect your ego, pause and reflect. Consider the weight of maintaining that falsehood and the potential harm it could cause. Choose instead to speak the truth, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. The long-term rewards, trust, self-respect, and peace of mind, far outweigh the fleeting relief a lie might bring. As we learn from Stoicism, the greatest victories are those won within ourselves through the discipline to act with virtue and integrity. Honesty, at its core, is not just about moral righteousness, but about living a life that is free from unnecessary burdens. The freedom that comes from truth is a gift, one that allows us to build enduring relationships, navigate challenges with clarity, and find peace within ourselves. Number 7. Empty commitments. To a Stoic, a commitment is far more than a casual agreement. It's a reflection of one's character, responsibility, and integrity. Empty promises, those made without the genuine intention of fulfillment, not only weaken trust but also chip away at your credibility and the strength of your relationships. In the eyes of Stoicism, every word spoken must carry weight, and every promise made must align with action. A commitment is sacred because it's not just about the other person. It's about your own dignity and the consistency between your values and your behavior. When words and actions fail to align, trust is eroded, and the bonds that hold our personal and professional lives together begin to fray. Think about how often empty promises appear in daily life. Perhaps you told a friend you'd help them over the weekend, but later found an excuse to cancel. Or maybe, in a workplace setting, a manager promised better resources or a raise but failed to deliver. In both cases, the impact is the same: disappointment and a loss of trust. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminds us, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This sentiment applies directly to keeping promises. Words alone don't define who you are. Your actions do. In a scenario that many of us can relate to, a friend asks for your help, and in the moment you agree without hesitation, even though you know your schedule is packed. As the day approaches, you feel the stress of juggling too much, and you decide to back out. While it may seem like a small thing, to the person who counted on you, it's not. Trust is built on reliability, and each broken promise weakens that foundation. A Stoic would say it's better to remain silent or honestly decline than to offer a false sense of assurance. As Epictetus wisely noted, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This advice encourages us to think carefully before we commit and to ensure our actions reflect our words. In professional settings, the stakes of empty commitments are even higher. Picture a leader who assures their team of improvements, better working conditions, clearer communication, or new tools, but fails to follow through. What happens? The team begins to lose faith, productivity wanes, and morale dips. A leader's promises carry more than personal weight. They influence the trust and motivation of those who rely on them. In contrast, a leader who delivers on their commitments earns respect and loyalty, creating a culture of reliability and integrity. This principle aligns perfectly with Stoic lessons. Act with reason, speak truthfully, and ensure your commitments are deliberate and achievable. Empty promises don't just damage relationships, they harm the person making them. Repeatedly failing to deliver can lead to a reputation for irresponsibility and unreliability. Over time, this perception isolates you, making it harder to form meaningful connections or gain the trust of others. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." This wisdom applies directly to commitments. It's better to remain quiet when unsure than to speak rashly and regret it later. A wise person understands the value of restraint, promising only what they can genuinely uphold. In modern life, where commitments are easily made with a quick text or casual agreement, it's easy to underestimate the importance of following through. But each commitment represents a thread in the fabric of trust that holds relationships together. By breaking even small promises, we risk unraveling that fabric. The Stoic approach offers a powerful alternative. Pause before you speak. Consider whether you can truly fulfill what you're about to promise. If not, it's better to be honest up front, even if it's uncomfortable, than to deal with the larger consequences of failing to deliver. This mindset not only protects your relationships but also cultivates a life of honesty and reliability. A person who consistently keeps their word builds a reputation for trustworthiness, and this reputation becomes a cornerstone of their character. Rather than trying to impress others with empty words, let your actions speak for you. By doing so, you create a legacy of integrity, one that reflects the Stoic ideal of living in alignment with reason and virtue. Taking the time to reflect before you promise, you not only strengthen your relationships but also free yourself from the stress and guilt of failing to deliver. Honoring your commitments, no matter how small, is one of the most powerful ways to demonstrate your character and earn the trust of others. In the end, Stoicism teaches us that a life of integrity is not built on grand gestures or impressive words, but on consistent, meaningful action. As you move forward, let this be your guide. Only make commitments that you can keep, and let your actions prove your worth. This simple yet profound principle can transform not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. A person of wisdom, reliability, and true strength, and true. Number 8. Making fun of others. Mocking others might bring a fleeting sense of superiority, but in the wisdom of Stoicism, it's a clear sign of spiritual weakness and emotional immaturity. A Stoic understands that the joy derived from belittling someone else is shallow and harmful, not only to the person being mocked, but also to the one engaging in the act. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, reminds us of the bigger picture when he said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Life is a gift, and it is far too brief to waste on tearing others down. Instead, it should be spent cultivating kindness, understanding, and personal growth." Mockery achieves none of these. It diminishes trust, damages relationships, and erodes respect. Let's take a moment to consider why people mock others. Often it stems from insecurity or a misguided attempt to mask one's own flaws by highlighting those of someone else. While it may feel like a quick way to appear superior or witty, it ultimately reveals more about the person mocking than the one being mocked. Stoic lessons teach us to focus on our journey rather than judging others for theirs. Everyone is imperfect, Everyone is struggling, and we cannot know the battles someone else is fighting. Mockery is not strength. It is a failure to exercise the virtues of empathy and self-control. Seneca put it beautifully when he said, "What progress have I made? I am beginning to be my own friend." Being your own friend means not projecting your insecurities onto others, but working to better yourself instead. A powerful modern example of this principle is the life of Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood actor widely admired for his humility and kindness. Reeves has been mocked by colleagues and tabloids alike, whether for his modest lifestyle, quiet demeanor, or his habit of sharing wealth generously with crew members on his film sets. During one such instance, some colleagues ridiculed his constant politeness and efforts to ensure every team member felt valued. But instead of retaliating or defending himself, Reeves responded with silence and continued to act with respect and compassion. Over time, his consistent humility transformed how people viewed him, making him a symbol of grace and kindness in an industry often criticized for ego and excess. His story exemplifies the Stoic ideal. True strength is in restraint, and respect for others is a far greater legacy than any moment of superiority gained through mockery. What does mocking someone truly accomplish? Does it make you a better person, or does it momentarily mask deeper insecurities? The Stoics urge us to look inward and question our intentions. Are we seeking to lift ourselves up by pushing someone else down? Or can we channel that energy into improving ourselves instead? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, choose kindness and wisdom over cruelty and thoughtlessness. Every time we refrain from mocking or belittling, we not only spare another person pain, but also strengthen our character and self-control. Mockery doesn't just harm the person being targeted, it diminishes the respect others have for you. Think about it. People are drawn to those who uplift, not those who ridicule. A leader, friend, or family member who builds others up earns lasting loyalty and trust, while those who tear others down risk isolation. In professional settings, a manager who mocks employees behind their backs may feel clever in the moment, but they ultimately lose credibility and the respect of their team. Conversely, a leader who practices empathy and refrains from judgment inspires confidence and cooperation. Stoicism teaches us to act not for fleeting approval, but for lasting integrity. It's also important to remember the personal cost of mockery. Every time you mock someone, you step further from the Stoic ideal of inner tranquility. Mockery is born of agitation, and indulging in it only perpetuates the cycle of negativity. True peace comes from rising above such impulses and choosing understanding instead. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This reminds us that mocking others often stems from assuming we know more or are better than they are. By humbling ourselves, we open the door to personal growth and deeper connections with those around us. In the end, the question is simple yet profound. What do you gain by mocking others? And what could you gain instead by choosing kindness? Keanu Reeves' example shows us that respect and empathy leave a far greater mark than ridicule ever could. The way he navigates life, unmoved by negativity and committed to treating everyone with dignity, offers a blueprint for how we can embody Stoic lessons in our own lives. Number 9. Respect for beliefs and religion. When you encounter someone with beliefs or religious views different from your own, how do you respond? Do you judge their perspective or pause to understand the life experiences that shaped their faith? An intelligent and wise person, guided by the principles of Stoicism, understands that every individual's belief system is a product of their journey. Respecting those beliefs is not just a sign of emotional maturity, but also a fundamental part of Stoic ethics, which emphasizes living harmoniously with others and embracing the diversity of human existence. Marcus Aurelius encapsulates this beautifully when he said, "What does not transmit light creates its own darkness." To respect another's beliefs is to bring light to understanding, while judgment and intolerance only breed discord. Throughout history, and even in today's world, conflicts over religion and beliefs have been a source of division and suffering. Take, for example, debates over religious freedom in multi-faith nations, where new laws often spark tensions between different groups. One community may see a policy as a step toward equality and freedom, while another perceives it as an infringement on their rights. Consider the discourse surrounding the application of Sharia law in certain countries. To non-Muslims, it may seem like a violation of universal human rights, while to Muslims, it represents a deep, cultural and spiritual framework integral to their identity. Without mutual respect and understanding, these differences can escalate into conflict and, tragically, violence. A Stoic recognizes that such disagreements, though inevitable, are opportunities for growth and understanding. Instead of resisting or fearing the differences in beliefs, a Stoic seeks to live in harmony with them, accepting diversity as a natural and enriching part of human life. Epictetus reminds us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This is especially relevant when engaging with others whose views challenge our own. Listening and seeking to understand does not mean agreeing with everything, but it does demonstrate respect and a willingness to coexist peacefully. In modern life, the lessons of Stoicism can help us navigate the complexities of religious and ideological diversity. Political debates, social movements, and globalized communities have brought us closer together than ever before, yet these same forces often highlight our differences. In such moments, it's easy to retreat into judgment or tribalism, dismissing those who don't share our perspectives. But Stoic lessons teach us to rise above these instincts, asking instead, how can I approach this with reason, understanding, and empathy? This mindset not only fosters personal growth, but also strengthens the social fabric of our increasingly interconnected world. Take the example of religious leaders or activists who champion mutual understanding. Figures like Desmond Tutu, who worked tirelessly to reconcile different racial and religious groups in South Africa, embody the Stoic principle of harmony. His ability to embrace diversity without compromising his own faith is a reminder that respect does not require abandoning one's convictions. Similarly, interfaith dialogues around the world show us that when individuals approach differences with humility and a willingness to learn, they often discover common ground that transcends religious or cultural divides. Now reflect on your own life. Have there been moments when you dismissed someone's beliefs without fully understanding them? Or perhaps times when someone judged your perspective without trying to learn about its roots? How did that make you feel? The Stoic approach challenges us to rise above such conflicts, not by avoiding them but by engaging with wisdom and a calm heart. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Respecting someone's beliefs, even when they differ from your own, is one of the simplest and most profound forms of kindness you can offer. Moreover, respecting others' beliefs is not just about them, it's about you. It reflects your ability to control your emotions, think rationally, and act virtuously. Mocking or dismissing someone's faith or ideology often stems from insecurity or ignorance. A truly wise person sees diversity as an opportunity to learn and grow, not as a threat to their identity. This is why Stoicism places such emphasis on accepting what is beyond our control, including the beliefs of others, and focusing instead on how we choose to respond. As we navigate an increasingly polarized world, the Stoic perspective becomes even more valuable. It teaches us that respecting beliefs is not about agreeing with every viewpoint, but about honoring the shared humanity behind those perspectives. When we approach others with an open mind and a respectful attitude, we contribute to a more peaceful and understanding world. The next time you find yourself in a discussion about religion, politics, or ideology, remember the Stoic principles of reason and empathy. Pause before you judge, listen before you speak, and strive to understand rather than to win an argument. By doing so, you not only embody the wisdom of Stoicism, but also pave the way for deeper, more meaningful connections with those around you. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that respecting others' beliefs can lead to greater harmony in our communities? Let's discuss this together. Comment 1 if you agree, or 0 if you'd like to share your perspective and add to this valuable dialogue. In doing so, we continue the Stoic practice of learning from one another, building a world guided by wisdom, respect, and understanding. Number 10. Intelligent handling of personal dissatisfactions or grievances. In life, moments of dissatisfaction are inevitable. Perhaps it's the disappointment of not achieving a long-sought goal, the frustration of someone failing to meet your expectations, or the simple irritation when plans go awry. These feelings are part of the human experience, but the real question isn't whether you'll face them, it's how you'll respond. Stoic philosophy teaches us that while external events are beyond our control, our reactions to them are entirely within our power. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This timeless wisdom reminds us that strength doesn't come from changing the world to suit our desires. It comes from mastering how we think and act in response to life's challenges. Think about a time when dissatisfaction crept into your life. Maybe it was at work, where despite your hard work and dedication, someone else received the promotion you felt you deserved. The immediate reaction might be anger, blame, or even self-pity, but a Stoic would pause and ask, why should I allow something outside my control to disrupt my peace of mind? The reality is, dissatisfaction often stems from misplaced expectations, expecting the world or others to act according to our script. Once we realize this, we can shift our perspective, letting go of the need to control what we cannot and focusing instead on what we can, our attitude, our efforts, and our growth. Next, consider a practical example. Picture an athlete who, after years of training, loses a crucial competition. They could choose to dwell on the loss, blaming conditions, competitors, or even themselves, allowing dissatisfaction to consume them. Or, like a Stoic, they could reframe the experience as a lesson, an opportunity to identify areas for improvement and grow stronger for future challenges. This shift doesn't erase the disappointment, but it prevents it from becoming a barrier to progress. Seneca wisely said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Dissatisfaction, when handled wisely, becomes the friction that polishes us, shaping our character and resilience. In everyday life, dissatisfaction can appear in smaller, more frequent forms. An unkind remark from a colleague, a long wait in traffic, or plans that fall through. These moments test our patience and often provoke knee-jerk reactions. But the Stoic approach teaches us to pause and reflect. Instead of snapping at the colleague or fuming in traffic, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most often, the answer is no. By choosing calmness over anger, you reclaim control over your emotions and demonstrate wisdom. This mindset not only protects your well-being, but also sets an example for those around you, showing that true strength lies in composure, not in confrontation. Dissatisfaction, when poorly managed, can also erode relationships. Imagine a partner or friend who constantly voices grievances without addressing them constructively. Over time, this creates tension and distances them from others. A Stoic, however, approaches grievances with thoughtful communication, seeking to understand and resolve issues rather than letting them fester. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By applying this principle, we can turn dissatisfaction into a tool for building stronger, more meaningful connections. Now let's apply this to the larger picture of life. The pursuit of perfection, whether in career, relationships, or personal goals, often leads to dissatisfaction because perfection is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, and outcomes rarely align perfectly with expectations. Recognizing this, a Stoic doesn't aim for a flawless life but for a resilient one, where setbacks and grievances are met with grace and adaptability. This perspective transforms dissatisfaction from an obstacle into an opportunity, a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Choose to let go of what you cannot control and focus on what you can. Remember, dissatisfaction is not the enemy. It's a natural part of life, a signal that something needs to be understood or addressed. By handling it with intelligence and calm, you not only protect your peace, but also cultivate the resilience to face future challenges. As you navigate life's inevitable disappointments, carry this Stoic lesson with you. Your strength lies not in avoiding dissatisfaction, but in mastering your response to it. The power to remain calm, wise, and focused in the face of setbacks is a skill that will serve you in every area of life. Number 11. Confidential information from third parties. When someone shares a secret with you, they're not just confiding information. They're placing a part of their emotional world in your hands. To betray that trust by revealing their confidential information is not just an act of disloyalty, but a direct attack on the foundation of the relationship itself. In Stoic philosophy, trust and discretion are held in the highest regard, representing both moral responsibility and self-control. Marcus Aurelius put it succinctly when he said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This wisdom reminds us that keeping a secret is about more than loyalty. It's about honoring our integrity and the faith others have placed in us. How would you feel if a close friend or colleague revealed one of your secrets to others? That sinking feeling of betrayal, the sudden loss of security in the relationship, is not easily repaired. Once trust is broken, it's not just the secret that's exposed, it's the very bond between individuals. Stoicism teaches us that protecting trust is a cornerstone of harmonious living. Discretion is not just a favor we do for others, it's a reflection of our character. To share another's secret for personal gain, entertainment, or even carelessness is to harm not only the person who confided in us, but also ourselves, as it undermines our own credibility and self-respect. In modern life, we've all seen how a single, careless disclosure can lead to lasting damage. Imagine a workplace scenario where one colleague mentions, in passing, a private detail about another coworker. What starts as idle chatter can quickly escalate into a full-blown conflict, damaging reputations and creating a toxic environment. Or think about family dynamics. A parent reveals something personal about one sibling to another, perhaps intending no harm. But the resulting hurt and mistrust can linger for years. These situations highlight the Stoic understanding that words, once spoken, cannot be taken back, and the harm they cause can far exceed our intentions. Reflecting on this, Stoic lessons guide us to practice restraint and mindfulness in our speech. Epictetus reminds us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This advice urges us to prioritize listening over talking, especially when handling sensitive information. By choosing not to speak carelessly, we not only protect the trust of others, but also cultivate inner peace, free from the drama and conflict that arise from gossip and betrayal. When we reveal someone's confidential information, it's often for fleeting, shallow reasons. A momentary boost in a conversation, a chance to feel important by sharing inside knowledge. But what do we gain, really? And what do we lose? The temporary satisfaction of contributing to gossip pales in comparison to the long-term consequences of broken trust and damaged relationships. A Stoic would pause and ask, am I about to say something that will harm another or reflect poorly on my own values? This moment of reflection can mean the difference between causing harm and preserving harmony. In this age of social media, the stakes are even higher. A single post, comment, or message can reveal sensitive information to hundreds, even thousands, of people in an instant. While it might feel trivial at the moment, the impact can be profound. The Stoic approach to modern communication is clear. Think before you speak, and think even harder before you share. As Seneca said, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart, but nothing is more destructive than a careless tongue. By choosing silence or discretion over impulsive speech, we demonstrate respect for others and ourselves. Moreover, protecting someone's trust isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about building deeper, more meaningful connections. When people know they can confide in you without fear of judgment or exposure, they are more likely to value and rely on your friendship. This creates a foundation of mutual respect and understanding that benefits everyone involved. On the other hand, the person who constantly shares others' secrets often finds themselves isolated, distrusted, and excluded from meaningful relationships. As we conclude our journey through the 11 things, an intelligent person guided by Stoicism never says, "Take a moment to reflect on how these principles can shape your daily life." Words are not just tools for communication. They're a reflection of your character and a force that can either build bridges or burn them. By practicing restraint, understanding, and purpose in your speech, you not only gain control over your words, but also over your emotions and reactions. Ask yourself, in your next conversation, will your words add value, or is silence the wiser choice? Let this question guide you toward a life of deeper meaning and harmony. If this video inspired you to rethink the power of words, please leave a comment sharing your insights, and don't forget to like and share the video to spread the timeless values of Stoicism. Subscribe to Stoic in Your Life for more lessons on Stoic living, and let's continue this journey of personal growth and wisdom together.